It was nighttime on the island of Sodor, and Edward and Henry were talking to Murdoch, who came back from pulling a heavy goods train that was needed for the mainland earlier. So Murdoch, Edward, and Henry shut their eyes as the dark sky faded away for the following day to come. The next morning, Edward and Henry were chatting with Gordon before they got ready for their morning passenger train, and he was about to leave when Devious Diesel oiled up next to him. And then Diesel left to go do his job. But Henry was cross with what Diesel had said to him about his job being more important than his. And when Diesel was out of sight for him to notice, Thomas pulled up next to him, which then made Henry feel much better. So Henry buffered up to his coaches and then pulled away to Nafford Station. Meanwhile, Henry and Donald were waiting for their passengers at the mainland station. Meanwhile, at Nafford, Diesel was just about to leave with some trucks that he had needed to take to the docks, but he had to wait for the brake van to be coupled up to his train. Finally, Thomas arrived with the brake van for Diesel's important train. This made Thomas cross, so he reversed back down the track, and then a few minutes later, he coupled the brake van to Diesel's quarry trucks. When the brake van was attached to Diesel's train, he was soon on his way to the docks with his heavy load. The fastest way to the docks was to go over Gordon's Hill. But Diesel had forgotten how steep Gordon's Hill was, even with his long, heavy load. So Diesel decided to charge up the hill even with his heavy load. And soon enough, Diesel made it to the top of Gordon's Hill. But then there was trouble. As Diesel rolled down the other side, the trucks were very heavy and then started to push Diesel down the hill. Meanwhile, at the bottom of the hill, Henry had just finished his job and was resting his wheels near a beautiful valley, and Thomas was there to just give Henry some company. But then Diesel rocked past Thomas and Henry out of nowhere, and Henry whispered his plan to Thomas about how to save Diesel. But just as they came up with a plan, they heard a loud crash in the distance. When Thomas and Henry arrived at the disaster, they saw that Diesel had come off the tracks, and so did the trucks. Now Diesel felt ashamed for himself for taking such a heavy load to the docks. Soon, Diesel was back onto the tracks, and he also wanted to apologize to Thomas and Henry for how he behaved earlier. And so, Diesel learned that being cruel and unfriendly was the wrong thing in the first place, and he promised to be nice and friendly to the other engines that he passed and never to be mean to them ever again in the nearby future.